Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today, as well as StreamYard.com. I am Anthony Florio. I am joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him Wednesday night, or I should say tomorrow night, for our very special edition of Strictly Sports, which we'll address at the end of the show. Man, oh man, Monday Night Raw tonight. Wow. Oh, my goodness. I mean, a dirt sheet came out today that the show had to be rewritten, and it worked. It really worked. It ended up being one of the best Monday Night Raws of this year. So many quality matches. I think we only had maybe two cutouts tonight. That's unheard of for this show. Unbelievable. But off the heels of the horror show at Extreme Rules, we will get into our thoughts on this edition of Monday Night Raw this evening. And for this week only, we're going to do something different with the Tony's Take this week. Normally, I would review Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. This time around, for this week only, due to time constraints, I am not going to do that. But what we are going to do, we're going to do something very special, at least for this week only. We are going to have a special Slammiversary, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary pay-per-view review. And as an added bonus, good old MF Michael Fletcher is going to join me on this. So you're not going to want to miss that. So with all that being said, let's get into the action here this evening. Monday Night Raw, of course, as usual, from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, on the USA Network. And like I said, this show was rewritten today, delayed the taping a little bit. But all I can say is, boy, howdy, whatever they decided to do with this rewrite, it ended up working to damn near perfection. Because this was a fantastic show tonight. And we started it off with the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, flaked by his disciple Murphy. And, he cut a promo about, the gruesome events of last night, which, of course, you already know what we're talking about, the now infamous eye for an eye match. And and he cut one of his better heel promos. I mean, it's one of the best ones he's had in a while. And then from there, he was interrupted by Aleister Black. And it set up a match. Seth Rollins, one-on-one with Aleister Black. And the winner of the match in 11 and a half minutes, excuse me, it was Seth Rollins. Yeah. There's a lot of us who would like to forget that the eye for an eye match ever happened. But hopefully WWE Creative is in the same mode and they'll move on from it until Rey Mysterio returns. And you notice that the Performance Center recruits were more vocal than usual during Rollins' promo. In addition to the usual chanting, there were actually one or more of the wrestlers shouting things in response to Rollins' promo, including a chant of Ray, 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 and all that. But all I know is that was good for the recruits there. As far as the match is concerned, definitely one of the fights of the night. I'm gonna give this an easy 3.5 stars. I mean, this was a very good television match. The first of several good matches this evening. I think we had like 5 quality matches on this show tonight, including a sleeper match that I really did not think was going to be any good, but that one proved me wrong, and we'll get to that near the end. But this whole segment took up 30 minutes, and it worked well. It was the rare Raw segment, truly worth watching all the way through. Rollins sold the effects of his eye for an eye match in his promo and in-ring work. He gave Aleister Black the focus in this contest, even if the Messiah needed to win to continue building momentum. The Messiah explaining away his violence by calling it necessary gives him a fresh angle to other top heels. He can understand that he is dangerous, but he will not take the blame for what he does. He puts that responsibility on the WWE Universe. And this was a very good TV match. Aleister Black was made to look competitive and all. And that's really all there is to say on that. I'm not sure if the idea was to write out Aleister Black with that injury angle or if it was simply to make him look sympathetic. But either way, it really was silly that no one ran out to save Aleister Black, and even sillier that Rollins pointed it out by openly questioning why his friends weren't saving him. And by the way, where's Austin Theory in all this? I don't know what's going on with him, but, we're going to have to wait and see. But the segment was very good. The match was 3.5 stars. Very fun sprint. If they could do that in 11.5 minutes, imagine what they could have done if they were given maybe another 10 or so more minutes. Oh, we would have been talking 4.5 easy, maybe even 5, because those two can go. So, nothing more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Great 2-for-1 deal. A great segment. Great match. 11.5 minutes. Imagine what they could have done in 20 or more.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This one is definitely one of the top fights of the evening. 3.5 stars is the rating I would give it. The promo was great. The promo was great by Rollins. He made me feel like, dude, really? Did you really have to go down that road? I had nuclear heat for Rollins. I had a lot of utmost disdain for Seth Rollins, and it worked. They did a great job with it. And then on top of that, to give us a really good match right behind that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I was pretty pleased with what had happened. So, no, this was a great jump off to Monday Night Raw. So, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, Matt, keep your all right. We're getting that feedback in the background, but a rare, interesting backstage segment. Yes, there was MVP and Bobby Lashley, but it was who was with them that was surprising. WWE Hall of Famer Ron Simmons, Farouk, and he was actually carrying on a conversation with them. Very surprising that we didn't, hear him do his obligatory "damn" that he's been known for the last several years. But what happened here was R-Truth came into the picture, and then he lost his 24/7 championship again, but this time he lost it to Shelton Benjamin. And it led to an in-ring segment with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. They're now a heel stable calling themselves the Hurt Business. Okay, I'm not really sure about the name for that, but anyways, here's the thing. The announce team said that MVP is technically not the United States heavyweight champion. They're saying that Apollo Crews is still the champion, even though he did test positive for COVID-19, as MF reported in a dirt sheet that he sent to our messenger chat earlier today. And which, you had a feeling that's the real reason why he failed his quote unquote failed his pre-match physical last night. But then Ricochet and Cedric Alexander come out. They spoke their rebuttal, and then they announced, hey, we got a partner of our own, and we want to challenge you to a 6-man tag team matchup. But this partner wasn't anybody. It was formerly of 205 Live and formerly of Friday Night SmackDown Live. Mustafa Ali is now Monday Night Raw. Oh, yes. Oh, but then again, we already knew this. He, along with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, came over to Monday Night Raw in the trade that sent the phenomenal AJ Styles to Friday Night SmackDown, much to the delight of MF. And we all know how very happy MF is about that. To me, he got the better end of the deal as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, 6-man tag team match. Bobby Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business, against Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander. And when all was said and done, winners of the match in an even 15 minutes, Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali with the 054 on MVP for the win. MF, your former SmackDown talent, what a great Raw debut for him.
Great Raw debut for him as well. And more importantly, Note what was said. Apollo Crews is the United States heavyweight champion. That's a major talking point that we can get. MVP has the belt, but he's not officially recognized as the champion. That's very telling for us all, and that's a major, major, major talking point that needs to be said. MVP will now have to fight just to be universally recognized as the United States champion, but because of the fact that Mustafa Ali won tonight and did beat MVP, if Mustafa Ali wanted to do it, he could say, well, because you're the quote unquote de facto champion, I can lay claim to a title shot. You could say this is somewhat of a belt holders committee moment. I know I can't say it's a championship committee moment because the real champion is Apollo Crews. But Apollo right now is on the mend, trying to deal with this COVID-19. Now, the question is, when did he get it? That's going to be the big question. When was the test? When did he fail? By the guidelines of the COVID that if you fail, you're out for 2 weeks. You must be in self quarantine for 14 days. That's given. No, there are no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. If you fail the test, you must self quarantine yourself for 14 days, guaranteed. When was the test administered? When did Apollo fail? That's going to become the big talking point. Because when we find out when he failed, that's when you can worry about, okay, this is what happened, this is when he failed, then you could start playing the long game. 2 weeks. And then you can go from there and react. Apollo Crews, sit on the men, take care of yourself, my friend, we're thinking about you. And MVP can take the mantle for a little bit, but Mustafa Ali has now put himself in prime position for a title match. He's instantly put himself right in prime position for a title match, and lo and behold, holy cow, how on earth did this happen? I'm happy for Mustafa Ali. He deserves it, man. He's one of the bright stars in WWE. You see how incredible he was on 205 Live. Florio, you know better than anybody else because you were singing the praises of this man. And this was a very good match. This was another 3.5-star battle because the body of work just was very relevant. And I think that's something that we can all take home on this one. This was a solid match. Anthony, go.
Yeah, you can't help but feel bad for Apollo Crews. I mean, first he suffered that devastating knee injury several weeks and months ago, and then testing positive for COVID. Man, you can't help but feel for him. But anyways, getting into this, wow, MF nailed it. I mean, this was a second straight good match on Raw. It took some time to get going, but Ali's involvement sparked a fire in the participants. He was flying around the ring in a way that few could match. His partners, though, can match up when WWE allows them to get going. Ali is great and needs to do something on one of the brands. The same is true of Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. However, Ali was allowed a fresh start and is now allied with two men that have struggled to stand out lately. He may need to separate himself from them to thrive. But, we'll have to wait and see on that. But I agree with the rating, 3.5 stars. And yeah, like I said, this was a big night for Monday Night Raw. We had several quality matches tonight, and this was another one of them. Well done. Then a backstage promo from Randy Orton. Great as always. And then Ron Simmons was talking with the Viking Raiders backstage, which was very interesting. And then Christian did a via satellite interview most of it was with Samoa Joe, which I thought was a strong segment with Christian, who found the perfect somber mixed with vengeful tone for his delivery. And, he talked about the big main event, which was the Big Show Randy Orton unsanctioned matchup. And then backstage interview, Sarah Schreiber, beautiful Sarah Schreiber, chatting with Bianca Belair, which was interrupted by Peyton Royce and Ruby Riott, which led to a match. Ruby Riott, Peyton Royce, and this is the only cutout of the night. Go figure. Ruby Riott won the match 3 minutes and 20 seconds. You notice Billie Kay was not there. I guess we can now add Billie Kay to the MIA list along with Liv Morgan, who was also expected to be involved in this, I hate to say, pointless and unnecessary feud, but
I don't know about Billie because I follow her a lot on social media, and there has been no mention of her having COVID-19 or anything like that. So I don't know about Billie Kay. I am hearing through the grapevine that Liv did get it, but there is no confirmation of it. This is an unconfirmed report that this is a dark web type of, like a Reddit type post. So definitely take it with a major pinch of salt when it comes to Liv. Billie, like you said, I have no idea what happened to her because I follow her a lot. So I don't know what happened to Billie.
Okay. So we'll thanks for that update, MF, and we'll wait and see what happens. We'll definitely look into this, and if any news about Billie Kay or Liv Morgan comes out, we'll definitely address it as soon as the information becomes available. But for right now, let's get back to the action. Non-title match here. The Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, squaring off against Andrade and Angel Garza. Winners of the match, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. The Street Profits, they actually win the match. Wow. Okay. It was nice to have the Street Profits back in action. Montez Ford looked fantastic after time away. He is an unreal athlete who especially shows that with his ability to fly off the top rope. His finish in this match was the greatest frog splash in recent memory. It was surprising to see Andrade and Garza lose. However, they have always been less than consistent as a team. It would not be shocking if they got another shot at the Profits, maybe next week or something, and actually got the win. These two teams have more story to tell. So I'm going to give this a solid maybe 3.25 stars for the effort. Nothing really more to say. MF, hello, what's this? Champions actually winning a non-title match? Go figure.
If you've noticed, a lot of lately the champions have been winning non-title matches. A lot of them lately. So I mean, this is definitely really good news. I really enjoy the story. The Profits are great. It established them at a great tag team. I think we can openly admit that the Profits deserves the great moment. This was a big win for them, and they deserve this. So no, I really got nothing bad to say about it. I think they did a really good job here. Big win for them. Congratulations. 3 stars from me. And Anthony, let's move on.
All right. And yeah. Let's see. Okay. This was the other big hook from Monday Night Raw. And we talked about this last night, and we're going to go here and now. The controversy surrounding the Raw Women's Championship. We saw the ending last night at Extreme Rules. We finally got an address here tonight. The Golden Role Models, Bailey Dose Straps and quote unquote 2 belts Banks, they ran their mouths like they always do. Interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka, the rightful Raw Women's Champion, and Kairi Sane. And again I say, hello, what's this? Stephanie McMahon via satellite? Uh-oh. Now, let's not forget, Stephanie, formerly the commissioner of Monday Night Raw, even though that title's long gone. But to me, she is, in my honest opinion, she's still technically the commissioner of Monday Night Raw. And she made a commissioner's decision. Next week on Monday Night Raw, Asuka and Sasha Banks will battle once again for the Raw Women's Championship to determine the outright Raw Women's Champion. And this is not going to be your usual title match where you have to win by pinfall or submission only to win the title. Oh, no. You can also win the title on a countout. You can also win the title on a disqualification. As long as you get your hand raised, you'll be the Raw Women's Champion. And if anybody interferes on their behalf, like, say, Bayley on Sasha's behalf or Kairi on Asuka's behalf, that woman is immediately disqualified and their opponent becomes the Raw Women's Champion. We'll get MF's thoughts on that in just a moment because he'll be starting this off because it leads into a match. SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley Dostraps squaring off against Kairi Sane. Winner of the match in 15 and a half minutes. Oh, score one from Monday Night Raw. Kairi Sane. She pins the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley with a beautiful crucifix-like maneuver. And you know what? Before I give it to MF, I'm going to make a point here and now. If you're going to have Sasha Banks go after Asuka in the Raw Women's Championship, I think it's only fair to have Kairi Sane go after Bayley and the SmackDown Women's Championship, considering she pinned her on this night here tonight. MF, there's nothing left to say except these four women, the Kabuki Warriors and the Golden Role Models, week after week after night after night after night, these four are the MVPs of the women's division right now. These four girls are killing it, and they killed it again tonight. You can make an argument this was the fight of the night, but what about next week, though? Asuka and Sasha, you heard the caveat dropped by Stephanie McMahon. How about it, Monsoon? Did you like how I Jesse'd that thing up?
Yeah, you did. Great job. I will say this. Asuka is now officially still the Raw Women's Champion. Let's get that debate out of the realm. WWE announced it earlier today. They finally came out with a post saying Asuka is the Raw Women's Champion. Sasha may have the belt, but Asuka is recognized as champion because of the false finish. Number 2, props to Stephanie McMahon for making this match. We knew something had to be resolved. This is very interesting because this could open the door for Sasha versus Bayley. Bayley gets overzealous. Bayley costs Sasha the belt, and then you might start the rivalry. The reason why I'm not saying Kairi Sane's name for the SmackDown Women's title is because I heard a rumor that tonight was Kairi's final night in WWE. It's being posted on multiple fronts that tonight was Kairi's last night. She's heading back to Japan after tonight. It's a tough situation. I think what it was for her to go out on top with a big win over the SmackDown Women's Champion, which is a great story for you, Anthony. Like you said, Raw gets one over on SmackDown. That's the big story of it. It's like last night. You can claim that SmackDown got one over on Raw, even though now we can say it doesn't count. That fight gets thrown out. You could even say that maybe it was a DQ finish. You can say that there was definitely chicanery. Whatever the case may be, now we're back to square one. The title is on the line. Asuka is the champion. She doesn't have the belt physically, but she is universally recognized as the Raw Women's Champion. There's no debate. This could be the fight of the night next week on Monday Night Raw. This will be one of the most highly anticipated title matches for Monday Night Raw. And it's been a long time since the women has had a high-profile main event style battle. This could easily be a main event for Monday Night Raw. Like, easily. Because of the body of work of both women. Bayley, Sasha, Kairi, and Asuka are the biggest bright spots on the women's roster. Bayley and Sasha for SmackDown Live. Kairi and Asuka for Monday Night Raw. And let's be realistic. With no Charlotte Flair, with no Becky Lynch, they are the driving forces of the women's division. And they've firmly cemented their places as the top women on both brands. So there's no doubt about it. What started out as maybe, oh my God, who's going to become the leaders of the brands? You know, no Charlotte, no Becky. How's this company going to run? Well, guess what? Shayna, sorry, Toots. You're going to have to go to the back of the line for a little bit. You're going to have to wait. Because maybe Kairi gets one more shot because she asked for a title match with Asuka if she won it. Maybe we get that. Sasha and Bayley, it looks like they're on a collision course. They actually put the caveat here because I think what could happen is Bayley tries to do something to try to help Sasha and she might get overzealous, make a mistake, the referee catches her, bell, ring, Asuka wins by disqualification and becomes undisputedly the Raw Women's Champion. And then you can say that Sasha will probably go absolutely ballistic because her best friend just cost her the title. So, we'll see. Definitely a great segment. And as far as the match goes, yeah, you could easily call this possibly one of the top fights of the night. Another 3.5 star match. Great job. Anthony, it's yours.
Wow. That's news to me if that's true about Kairi, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. But since returning to action, Kairi Sane has looked better than she ever has on Monday Night Raw. She looked focused and fluid. She had clear chemistry in the ring with Bayley. These two could absolutely have a great match for the SmackDown Women's title if they decide to do that. This is assuming that the Pirate Princess will stick around. If she chooses to leave, Shayna Baszler was perfectly set up as the one to retire her. Sane would be going out on a high with big wins and performances in recent weeks. I could easily call this the fight of the night, in all honesty. I could probably, you know what? I'm going to call this the fight of the night. I'm going to give this about 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I mean, this was a fantastic match. So, wow, great matchup here. And the reason why I brought up Kairi possibly going after Bayley is, Kairi pinned the champion. That usually would mean an automatic championship committee moment. And considering that we have Sasha going after Asuka for the Raw belt, I mean, that's why I came up with that little scenario there. But, we'll have to wait and see. But either way, big win for Kairi Sane. I'm thrilled for her. Well done, darling. Then we had the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. He came out. He cut a promo, interrupted by Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler says, I want another match with you. You can pick the stipulation, whatever. I want another match. And that's all there is to say on that. And, I could throw this away too. I mean, this was a fine segment, but it feels unnecessary with SummerSlam on the horizon. McIntyre should be looking forward, not back. this would have been the time to begin setting the stage for the likely battle of the Scottish Psychopath and Randy Orton, Monday Night Raw's big money match of the summer. There is no reason to doubt that McIntyre will win. He was working on a higher level to the show off at Extreme Rules. This does work as a story. Ziggler, who was growing desperate, put himself in the impossible situation McIntyre faced while the WWE champion was glad to put his former tag team partner in his place. And by the way, next week on Monday Night Raw, these two will go at it. I didn't hear anything about the WWE Championship being on the line. I just heard one-on-one. So this might be a non-title match. So this should be where McIntyre finally puts Ziggler away, and then maybe we can start that big money match of the summer bill with Orton. So we'll have to wait and see on that. That's the only other cutout this evening. Now we get to our main event of the evening. This was the big match that was heavily promoted for this week. Unsanctioned match, non-sanctioned match, whatever you want to call it. Randy Orton versus The Big Show. Randy Orton wins the match, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Sleeper fight of the night. I did not expect this thing to be any good, but they surprised me. It was good to get the overbooking out of the way in this contest early. That left these two veterans to tell their story together. It was not up to the level of Edge and Orton at Backlash, but then again, it was never expected to be. Especially for a Monday Night Raw main event. This was a solid no disqualification match. The main problem, though, was a lack of suspense. Once Show lost control of the bout, Orton dominated the rest of the way. It would not have worked as a match on a major WWE pay-per-view. But I will give these guys credit where credit is due. I'm going to give this about 3.25 stars. Consider it my sleeper fight of the night. And then Randy Orton punt kicks the Big Show's head off. Legend killer. He's back. Oh boy. That's not good news for anyone on Monday Night Raw, especially the WWE champion Drew McIntyre. My man, you might be in big trouble going into the biggest party of the summer next month. So 3 to 3.25 stars. Sleeper fight of the night. Nothing more to say. MF. And on top of that, Big Show cut a great promo beforehand. So another great 2-for-1. So MF, your man does it again. Legend killer. You ruled the roost.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say? Randy Orton, one of the best in the game. And this is that sadistic, ruthless aggression Randy Orton. The like I said, the legacy Randy Orton. That was his best heel work, and he's redefined himself again. He's redefining himself as the heel right now in WWE, and he's done a really damn good job with it. 3 stars for the rating is my rating for the main event. There's really nothing more to add, Anthony, so let's just move on to overall thoughts.
And MF started off. Overall thought. Very good show.
Yeah, I mean, one of the better Raws we've had in a recent while, and I think it was an enjoyable show. I think the rewrites or whatever they were doing prior to the show worked. So I think WWE finally got their heads out of their you-know-whats, and they're going to try to make this company, hopefully they're going to make this thing work for, make the shows more sustainable. So if they do this is a sign for good things, and this actually got me very intrigued for SmackDown Live on Friday night now. I know WWE is getting a lot of heat, especially from USA Network and from Fox. They're getting a little frustrated with WWE because of the overall body of work of their shows, and the ratings have been in the tank lately. So WWE's trying, and they're gonna have to start doing things and get into more desperate mode now, because the networks are asking for quality and success, and you better start delivering, or else WWE, you're going to be in big time trouble with the network. So there's really nothing more to add. This was a really good show. Very good Monday Night Raw. Far better than anything they've produced in the last few months, as a matter of fact. So yeah, great show tonight. Anthony, it's yours.
Indeed. And by the way, I just I just came across it. From what I'm hearing through my sources, the McIntyre Ziggler match next week, the WWE Championship is on the line. So we got 2 huge title matches next week on Monday Night Raw. Oh boy. I got a great feeling about both of these matches. So, but anyways, very good Monday Night Raw this evening. Wow. Only 2 cutouts, really. I mean, we had only one bad match, which was the Ruby Riott and Peyton Royce match. That was a dud, but all the other matches were at least 3 stars or higher. And then throw in a couple of good in-ring segments and the whole 9 yards. If I was to put a number on this, I could easily give this about 8.5. This was one of the better Monday Night Raws in quite some time. And you know what? I mean, we've had a few very good shows this year. It's not quite the Monday Night Raw of the year, but it's definitely one of the top Monday Night Raws of the year. It's definitely top 5 material. I mean, 5 quality matches, only a couple of good segments here. Only one meh fight, but other than that, I mean, I can't ask for much as a Monday Night Raw fan. I mean, that was very good. And 2 huge championship matches next week. WWE Championship with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, where Drew McIntyre gets to pick the stipulation. That's great. But to me, the real main event of Monday Night Raw next week really should be Asuka and Sasha Banks to determine the undisputed and outright Raw Women's Champion, based on the body of work of those girls. So I got a great feeling about next week's show. And then when you think about Wednesday night, they're teasing a major announcement from NXT General Manager William Regal. I wonder what the former Goodwill Ambassador has to say. I got a feeling it might have something to do with a certain double champion, if you know what I mean. But we'll have to wait and see on that, or maybe not, or maybe it could be Takeover. You don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And for Friday night on SmackDown, MF, you got the bar fight with Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. And then we'll have to wait and see what else Cole Graves and company have in store. So that's really all there is to say on that. So 8.5 would be my rating if I would have put it, to have you. So with all that being said, now we're gonna get into Slammiversary, a very special edition of Tony's Take. Usually I would do Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. I'm not going to do that this week because I want this to be all about Slammiversary, and rightfully so. And as a special treat, MF is actually going to weigh in as well. So Slammiversary went down this past Saturday night from the Skyway Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, on pay-per-view and streaming on Fight TV, which I did. I ordered the event on Fight TV, and there was one minor issue, but other than that, everything went smooth as silk, as the old saying goes. So now, it wasn't the greatest show, but it was definitely a newsworthy show. I'll leave it at that. So let's get into it. First match of the night. It was an open challenge. The Rascals issued an open challenge, and it was answered by one of the greatest tag teams in Impact Wrestling history. Former multi-time Impact World Tag Team Champions, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns, they win the match in 14 minutes and 17 seconds. 3.5 stars. Wild nonstop action to find this one. Shelley and Sabin may have been a step slower than they were when they were at the top of the tag team mountain, but they still showed the same sort of in-ring chemistry that earned them rave reviews a decade ago. Wentz and Dez, who were clearly inspired by the sort of tag team offense utilized by the Motor City Machine Guns, hung in there with Sabin and Shelley, and the result was competitive and damn fun start to a show with a lot of buzz around it. Kicking Slammiversary off with 2-star tag teams so ingrained in the history of Impact like Shelley and Sabin was absolutely the right call on the part of the booking team. 3.5, hell, I could go 3 3/4 on this. Great way to start it off. MF, did you really expect to see the Motor City Machine Guns? I honestly didn't.
Nope, no way. We were all thinking Good Brothers. We were all thinking the Good Brothers here because, you know, you heard the story about the Good Brothers has signed with Impact Wrestling, and we knew that they were going to be at Slammiversary. We all were thinking this was probably going to be the Good Brothers. Boy, were we in for a bomb when we saw Motor City Machine Guns. We absolutely lost it. I was watching this on a Discord with a few of my buddies. We were watching Impact, yes. We were intrigued. We wanted to see how they were going to deliver, if they were going to deliver or not. They did. This was a great way to jump it off. Motor City Machine Guns, man. Like you said, they may have lost a step, but my God, man, some of the tag team action that was in that match was top-notch level. And for a guy who doesn't really, I don't follow Impact Wrestling that much like I used to. Work commitments beyond my control. And, you know, I don't have the same luxury like Anthony does. The best way I can watch the program is basically through the TV, where I had to watch it through Twitch. But yeah, holy freaking crap, man. That was an incredible jump off. What a great way to start the event. 3.5 stars for me. So, Anthony, let's move on.
All right. Next up, we had the old school rules match for the unsanctioned TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Moose squaring off against Tommy Dreamer. Winner of the match, 11 minutes and 18 seconds, and quote-unquote still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. It was Moose. MF, I think we can agree this was, you can make an argument, this was the worst fight of the night.
It was. Well, you can say there was probably one more that was on the verge of it, but this was indeed the worst fight of the night. This is only maybe 2 stars for me. And the thing was, it was slow. It was plotty. It wasn't really anything amazing. I'm happy Moose won. I'm happy Moose keeps the title. But at the end of the day, it really did nothing for me. It was blah for most of it. And I give Dreamer an opportunity, and I give him a lot of love for doing what he did. It was a job well done, and everything was set it up. But at the end of the day, the right man won. And even in our prediction video, we both said Moose was going to win. So there was no doubt about it on this one. So Moose wins. Yeah, good for him. Florio, go.
2 to 2.5. 2 to 2.5 stars is my rating for this. Moose has been a revelation in his role as the delusional former sports star who carries a title he did not earn. Pushed to it by his own professional failings, he has been absolutely fantastic. Tommy Dreamer will always bust his ass, regardless of the match or his age. The effort is always there, and it was here too. The match, though, was as good as it was going to be at this point in Tommy's career, though. Moose picked up the win as most of us expected and can build his star on the fact that he survived a hardcore war with the innovator of violence. So it was a success in that regard. So nothing to say here. Then we moved on to the Gauntlet for the Gold to determine the number 1 contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Participants in no particular order: Tasha Steelz, Susie, Rosemary, Madison Rain, Nevaeh, Kimberly, Kiera Hogan, Katie Forbes. Surprise Katie Forbes. That goof Johnny Bravo, who entered twice dressed as Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. Jessica Havoc, Alicia Edwards, the real Taya Valkyrie. And the winner of the match in 19 minutes and 20 seconds and the number 1 contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship, Kylie Rae. I think this was the other match that MF was talking about for worst fight of the night. I think you can make an argument maybe this was the worst fight of the night. I mean, the Moose and Dreamer fight was, I'll say, maybe more of a sleeper fight of the night. I didn't expect it to be anything really good, but it ended up being a lot better than I thought, even though it wasn't all that great. You can make an argument this was a dud. I mean, the Knockouts division had been one of the brightest spots of Impact in the weeks leading into Slammiversary, so it was massively disappointing to see how this gauntlet match turned out. The 1-minute intervals never allowed the match to find its groove and severely hampered the performer's abilities to tell any semblance of a story. The obvious choices lasted until the end, but nothing was really resolved between any of them. The impending breakup between Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie was teased, but not followed up on, which was probably the biggest expectation fans had for the bout. Kylie Rae winning makes sense because she is clearly the performer you would want to build a program around. Unfortunately, her big moment didn't come in a better match. So I'm sorry, I got to call this a dud. This was an absolute cluster bleep. But MF, the only silver lining was, I believe you had this one. You had Kylie Rae winning this match, and she did.
I called it. I wanted Smiley Kylie to win it, and the beautiful baby girl delivers the goods for me, man. I'll take that check to the pay window, and I'll take my money on that one. So, yes. This was, like you said, it was a complete and utter mess. We were looking for some real talent in this battle royale, and we did. We had some talent in there, but come on, Katie Forbes, did she really need to be in that match? And then on top of that, that Johnny Swinger goofball McGundy, I don't even know.
Johnny Bravo.
Whatever. I don't give a damn. He was a wasted space. He didn't need to be there. This was the biggest. I mean, this was stupid beyond stupid beyond stupid. Impact Wrestling. This is why you're Impact Wrestling. This is why nobody really takes you relevantly, because of stuff like that. But I'm gonna be a little too harsh. I'm being a little hard on them, and I apologize. But alone from that was the lone low light of the entire night. The women's gauntlet match was the lone low light of the entire night because, believe it or not, Anthony, it actually did get slightly better throughout the night. So the show does pick up at certain points. So yeah, really nothing more to say. It's yours.
And we move on. The remaining 4 matches on this card, all championship matches. And we started off with the match for the X Division Championship. Willie Mack defending the title against Chris Bay. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 1 second. And new Impact Wrestling X Division Champion, Chris Bay. MF, history was made, and that was not the first time you're going to hear me say that.
No, and you know what? I got to say, I'm happy Chris Bay's the champion. Look, I love Willie Mack. I love the body of work he does. I think he's a great representative of Impact Wrestling. He was great as the Mack on Lucha Underground. He was in MCL, Major League Wrestling. He was a big name in that. And in the Wrestling of Hollywood, which is the NWA, he was their North American champion of that company. The NWA North American champion. So he does have a lot of great success in wrestling. I just never really ever took him serious as an X Division champion, because when you think X Division champions, you're thinking guys of maybe between under 220 pounds and under. That's more of a cruiserweight belt. That was more emphasis of a light heavyweight division, cruiserweight division, whatever you want to say. That was their title. And all of a sudden, that's the belt he gets. So I kind of felt like he diminished the belt a little bit. And that's not a knock on Willie Mack. That's just something that when I heard he was the X Division champion, I'm like, wait a minute. X Division is like 220 pounds and less. What the hell is he doing with that belt? But now we got Chris Bay, the champion. Chris Bay is the prototypical guy. That's the perfect guy to be the X Division champion. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come with, a lot of the newer talent that's coming in, that maybe we might have a revitalization or a reconstruction of the X division because if they bring the X division back to the legendary core that it used to be, that was one thing that established Impact Wrestling, or TNA, as a real viable company, is because of their no limits, high flying craziness that they used to do. That was one of the biggest bright spots that Impact had on any other company. They were literally using the fountain of youth of the cruiserweight division and made it their own. And if you remember, one of the greatest matches that ever happened for the X Division title was the Unbreakable 3-Way. And we talk about it and we harken about it, but let's be realistic. That was what the X Division was all about. Joe, Daniels, AJ. And when they brought that match, and that match came to life, and how crazy that match was, I hope Impact, and more importantly, Don Callis, I hope you saw what you did. You guys have a trajectory that could really, really help Impact Wrestling, because for me, Chris Bay is the perfect X Division champion. Now, if you bring back that element of the high-flying no limits that you had from back in the day, you guys have a possibility to really make this something really special. Anthony, it's yours. My total rating for the match is 2 3/4 to 3 stars.
Right there with you. 2.5 to 3 stars. I think that's the correct rating for this. The pieces were there for a show stealer, but instead the early neckbreaker bump appeared to have dazed Chris Bay just enough to keep things a step slower than it may have otherwise been. Willie Mack dominated the match, which was an interesting choice given the outcome and the fact that Bay had spent weeks building his star to this point. The ref bump late, the absence of Johnny Swinger, and the surprisingly one-sided nature of the match combined for a less than effective coronation of Chris Bay as the new X Division champion. Still, the match was good enough to earn an above-average rating, even if it was somewhat disappointing in overall execution. So that's all there is to say on that. Next up, now we go into the main events of the evening. Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Championship on the line. The champions, the North, Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, defending against the world's most dangerous tag team, Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock. Winners of the match, 15 minutes and 56 seconds, and still the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, the North. They do it again. The match was action-packed and featured a few elements of dissension between Shamrock and Callihan, but no major developments to speak of in their rivalry. Like most of the North's matches, Page and Alexander were able to work around their opponent's weaknesses, particularly Shamrock's, and still delivered a quality performance. I could give this about 3.5 stars, solid 3.5 stars for the rating. But what happened afterwards, get ready for this. The post-match promo setting the North up against the Motor City Machine Guns tomorrow night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV created genuine excitement for that show and served as a hell of a hook for TV. That contest, barring injury or overbooking, could be a low-key candidate for Impact Wrestling Match of the Year. The talent involved is that good. So that's all there is to say on that. This match is 3.5 stars. MF tomorrow night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV. The North versus the Motor City Machine Guns. World Tag Team Championship on the line. MF, how about it?
Holy cow, man. That is definitely going to be a great match. I mean, as far as the tag team title match goes, I give this about 2 3/4 of a star. I think it was solid. It was good. But man, the North and Motor City Machine Guns for the belt next tomorrow night. You know, that could have 5 stars written all over it. And I'm even going to go even further. I think we could get new tag team champions. I think we're going to get new tag team champions. I'm going to go with the Motor City Machine Guns to win the belts. I think the thing is that a lot of people has been saying it, and this was one thing that I was hearing a lot of people about after the North won the title. I think a lot of people are starting to get sick and tired of the North holding the tag team titles. I think it's time that they drop the belts. You know, when you're champion for this long, it's almost inevitable that people start getting bored with you as a champion. It's not like the old days. It's not like back in the day where a long reign is considered great. Unfortunately now, if you overstay your welcome as a champion, you kind of feel like ugh to a certain degree, and that's what I was getting a lot of feedback from the guys, especially on the Discord after the North won the title. Some of them were like, "Really? I really thought they were going to lose the belts. This could be the night where they lose the belts tomorrow, and if they do, man, what a way for Motor City to get them back." So we'll see. Anthony, it's yours.
And when I think back to Motor City Machine Guns and the World Tag Team Championship, you automatically have to think about something that MF and I had a lot of fun with back in the day. That legendary Best of 5 series with James Storm and Robert Roode of Beer Money. I mean, that was something MF and I had so much fun with back in the day. I mean, that was one of our favorite of all time right there. And we'll wait and see. I mean, that match tomorrow night, that has Show Stealer written all over it. I can't wait. It's the most excited I've been for an Impact Wrestling show in a long time. And that alone is one of the reasons why. So, all right, moving on here. Knockouts Championship on the line. Jordynne Grace defending against the Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Winner of the match in 15 minutes and 12 seconds. And new Impact Wrestling Knockouts Champion, the Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, via submission. MF, you wanted it, you got it. Virtuosa's the champ. Kylie Rae's the #1 contender. I think they're on a collision course, like you said.
And this is the biggest moment for Impact Wrestling. To use two people who were basically cast away by rival companies, AEW and WWE, well, mainly NXT, and now Impact Wrestling are going to showcase them for their women's title. The Virtuosa could become a blessing in disguise as champion, and Kylie Rae, that little ray of sunshine herself, I mean, my goodness, what a turn of events for Impact Wrestling, where they got a lot of great women in their company, and they're gonna let these two run with the ball, and I think they're gonna deliver. That's a great statement for them, and you know what? Like I said, I give props to Impact for doing this, because I would have done this myself. Let these women get the opportunity of a lifetime. They deserve it. This was a great matchup. This was a 3-star fight. You could even call this a sleeper fight of the night for me. This was definitely underrated. Nobody really thought it was going to be anything special, and what we got was an incredible title match, to say the very least. And you know, the body of work was there. It was a great battle. I'm so happy that Deonna Purrazzo is now the Impact Knockouts champion. I called for this one. I predicted this. Anthony, I know you predicted it as well. But, dude, it doesn't get any better than this for me. I mean, Deonna Purrazzo deserved it. Congratulations, my dear. Anthony, is yours.
I think I had Jordynne Grace successfully defending when we did our preview last week. But anyways, Deonna Purrazzo made someone in Orlando who thought she wasn't ready or good enough to be on TV look like a fool. She was a star here. shining brighter than she was ever allowed to during her stint in NXT, where she was released 3 months ago, back on April 15th. She lived up to her nickname, transitioning seamlessly from one move to another, countering whatever Grace threw at her and carrying herself like the star she and her longtime fans knew she was. Putting the title on her so soon after her debut is absolutely the right call. She is red hot, made waves when she opted to sign with Impact, and is absolutely ready to run as the face of the Knockouts division. That's not to downplay Jordynne Grace. She was equally great here. She has developed into such a fluid, crisp worker who can combine power, speed, and agility into a package unlike any this company's women's roster has ever seen. In fact, if it wanted to, Impact could easily replace Tessa Blanchard as the intergender worker with Grace, and no one would bat an eye. She's that good and strong. To this point, it was the best fight of the night and absolutely lived up to the hype preceding it. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. No question about that. And then we go to the main event of the evening, where it was Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, Trey Miguel, and a mystery opponent for the vacated Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. But hold the phone. We didn't have just one mystery opponent. We had two. The first, off the injured list, Rich Swann, former Cruiserweight champion in WWE. That Rich Swann can't handle this. Yep, that Rich Swann. That was him. And then from there, and on top of that, the other mystery opponent, former World Heavyweight champion in his own right, the world-class maniac, Eric Young. It was a fatal 5-way elimination matchup. Trey Miguel eliminated by Eric Young. Eric Young eliminated by Rich Swann. Rich Swann eliminated by Ace Austin. Winner of the match in 24 minutes and 25 seconds of total time, and is the new Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards pins Ace Austin to win the title. But wait, there's more. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton attack Eddie Edwards after the match, and Eddie Edwards gets saved by the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Anderson and Gallows are going to be watching Eddie Edwards back. Oh my. Eddie Edwards is going to be champion as long as he wants to. Let's not kid ourselves. So, but this was the fight of the night, though. I got to say, this was about 4.25, 4.5 stars. On the surface, Eddie Edwards was the least exciting of the options to win the title. It makes sense, though, if you believe the company wanted to usher in this chapter with a familiar face at the top of the card, surrounded by all of these fresh new faces. Pairing Edwards with the Good Brothers makes sense, given the tone of the characters, while positioning Austin and Fulton as heel foils early in the title reign is apropos, given the wealth of history between them and Eddie. Beyond that, we have a rivalry between Rich Swann and Eric Young that could very well produce some damn fine professional wrestling and storytelling, not to mention the brilliant cliffhanger that was EC3's return to the company. There will be some who are disappointed by the revelation of Young and or Swann as the entrants in this match, but their contributions more than helped elevate the overall quality of the match, and they themselves now have a few we can look forward to. So, no question about it. This was the fight of the night. 4.25 to 4.5 stars. Nothing more to say. MF. Good Brothers watching Eddie Edwards back. Eddie Edwards is going to hold that title as long as he wants to.
Yeah, he might, and it's very possible. But, you know, this was a great match. This is a great title match. Definitely. But because there's a lot of layers to the storyline. First, Eddie Edwards winning the title. That's a great story in itself. Eddie worked so hard to get back to the top. As you remember, the last time he was the World Heavyweight Champion, he was feuding with Bobby Lashley when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. So it's been a long time since Eddie's been a world champion. Then on top of that, you also got Rich Swann and Eric Young. Eric Young, holy cow, nuclear heel. He got after beating him down at the end of the event, and that was a horrific beatdown, to say the very least. But it was a great body of work more than anything else. And then, like you said, then you have at the end with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. It looks like they picked a fight with the Good. Well, they tried to pick a fight with Eddie Edwards, but then the Good Brothers show up. So maybe that's going to be their first rivalry. You messed the North, try to pick a fight, and now you got yourself in big trouble because now you got basically the Good Brothers coming after you for that. So we'll see how that plays out. And like I said, there's a lot of stories that came out of this title match that you could really, really, really work with. And then the emergence of EC3. EC3 and Eddie Edwards had a real nasty rivalry in Impact Wrestling before he left to go to WWE. So maybe that's the jump off of EC3 and Eddie Edwards, because remember, there was a real nasty rivalry between them two, Anthony. So there's a lot of layers that came out of this that is going to be very interesting to see how it comes out next week. I gotta say this, tomorrow night's Impact Wrestling could be one for the history books, to say the very least. So nothing more to add. Michael Bullock is here. So
before we get to Bullock, your final thoughts, overall thoughts on Slammiversary?
Slammiversary never disappoints. As a matter of fact, one of my buddies was alluding to it. As much as we may not like Impact Wrestling, and as much as we don't think that Impact has done any relevance in the last few years, every year when they do a Slammiversary event, it actually delivers. And this was once again another excellent show. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me, Anthony. I think Impact really did themselves a lot of good. They got some great headlines coming out of the event. They got a lot of good stories that came out of the event. And on top of that, with all the history that was being made, it makes tomorrow's show very, very, very intriguing and very interesting to watch. And for once, even has me thoroughly invested in watching Impact Wrestling on Twitch. Where a lot of times I'll just gloss over and be like, alright, whatever. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be watching it. So, you got me intrigued, Impact. I hope you keep the momentum, because you guys really knocked it out of the ballpark on Saturday. Anthony, it's yours.
And one other thing I forgot to mention, how about that backstage reunion between your inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champions, MF, with Heath Slater and Rhino?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, and I think that's also going to be a very interesting thing to see. If Motor City Machine Guns does fail, maybe Rhino and Heath Slater might get the next opportunity at the North. Who knows? That actually opens the door for the tag team division. If you think about it, you got 3 legit tag teams now that could be going for the belts. So the North is going to have is going to be very busy. We'll see.
Indeed. So I agree. Looking forward was the theme of the show, really, as Impact wrapped up a number of its ongoing storylines and looked to a future that is suddenly brighter than it has been for that company in some time. New stars impressed, old stars will help bolster the roster, and the fact that Slammiversary trended at #1 worldwide on Twitter throughout the show suggests fans were genuinely interested by what the promotion had to offer. Now it will be up to them to maintain that intrigue, starting with tomorrow night's Impact Wrestling show on Access TV at 8 p.m. With the encore at 11 for those who miss it or want to see it again. Or if you can't, you can join MF on Twitch. MF says he's going to be there. So we'll have to wait and see. And then Impact in 60 follows that at 10 p.m. They're going to be showing ladder matches, some classic ladder matches from yesteryear. So I can't wait to see how that turns out. So that's all there is to say. I agree with MF's rating. It's a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me as well. very good show. A very newsworthy show, to say the very least. And I cannot wait. It's the first time in a very long time I have been excited for an Impact Wrestling show, and I can't wait to share our thoughts on that next week in Tony's Take. But for right now, Phenom Michael Bullock is here. Sorry to keep you waiting, Bullock. We were doing our Slammiversary review, so
no worries, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Let's get into it. Very good show tonight. Seth Rollins cut a promo, a great heel promo, scathing heel promo, and then Seth Rollins went on to defeat Aleister Black in 11 and a half minutes.
Yeah, the promo. I thought it was a good promo, and like you said, it was a scathing promo, and basically talk about what he did to Rey Mysterio. And yeah, as far as the match goes, I mean, this was a good match. It's certainly a good way to kick it off. So as far as my rating, I'll give it about maybe 3.5 stars on this match. So next up.
Well, the newly named stable, the Hurt Business, MVP Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. By the way, Shelton Benjamin is your new 24/7 champion, and they teamed up against Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and the debuting on Monday Night Raw, Mustafa Ali. 6-man tag action. Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander win the match in 15 minutes. Mustafa Ali with that beautiful 054 on MVP for the win. How about it?
Man, I can tell you, Florio, I'm sure you must have enjoyed seeing that on Monday Night Raw.
Amen.
That 054.
Yes, sir.
Courtesy of Mustafa Ali. Mm-hmm. So, as far as the match goes, I'll give it about 3.5 to 3 3/4.
Yeah, very surprised. It was a surprisingly good match. But then again, Mustafa Ali being in it was the reason why. And then from there, we had only one cutout match on this night. Ruby Riott over Peyton Royce, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. I'm not going to have you waste your time on that. Street Profits against Andrade and Angel Garza, non-title match. Street Profits win the match, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. The champions win a non-title match. What do you think of that, Bullock?
I thought it was a good match. I would give it about maybe 3 3.25 stars. So yeah, so let's move right along.
Yeah, if you can keep your mic on, no worries. Then we had the other big hook of Raw going in, the situation with the Raw Women's Championship. The Golden Role Models, they came out, they ran their mouths as they always do. Interrupted by the Kabuki.
What else is new? What else is new with that nonsense?
Yep. And then interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors. And then Stephanie McMahon via satellite. Stephanie McMahon showed up on the big screen, and she announced that next week, Asuka and Sasha Banks will do battle for the undisputed outright Raw Women's Champion. And the thing is, this is not going to be your average match. Not only can you win by pinfall or submission, you can also win the title via a count out or a disqualification. Possible, and if somebody interferes, they get disqualified automatically and they lose the title. So, and then it led into a match: Bayley against Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane beats Bayley in 15 and a half minutes. Wait, how about Bayley Dostraps getting a comeuppance for once?
Well, first off, I never thought I'd be saying this, but thank you, Stephanie McMahon, for making this decision, and that you weren't going to stand with what happened last night. Because if for some reason somebody else was going to stand by it, my inner phenom would have came out, and not in a good way. But yeah, now we got the two of them facing off to be the outright Raw Women's Champion. So yeah, and all I can say to you, Miss Bayley, go ahead and interfere, because if you do, your friend ain't winning that Raw Women's title. So as far as the match goes, I'll give this about another 3.5 to 3 3/4. I mean, this was a surprising outcome. But all I can say is, Bailey, those straps, you got exactly what you deserve for all the despicable things you've done. And look what it got you tonight. Couldn't have happened to a nicer woman.
And Raw gets one over on SmackDown. That makes it even more. That makes it even the more sweeter. So makes me happy. But MF was actually okay with it. MF didn't go as crazy as you would think, but it is what it is. Drew McIntyre cut the promo. He gets interrupted by Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler, being big girl panties like we always call him, he whined and cried, and he ended up getting himself a rematch. And next week, McIntyre and Ziggler will battle for the WWE Championship, and Drew McIntyre is going to pick the stipulation. You want to share a quick thought on that, Boris?
Yeah, and yeah, I kind of like it, and and I think I heard that Drew McIntyre is basically going to pull a Dolph Ziggler and basically wait and let everyone know what the stipulation is going to be. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Good hook. So you got two huge championship matches next week: McIntyre and Ziggler for the WWE Championship, where Drew McIntyre picks the stipulation, and Asuka and Sasha Banks for the outright Raw Women's Championship, where you can win in any form, not just pinfall or submission. You can also win the belt on a counter or a DQ. So, and then the main event of the evening, the non-sanctioned match, Randy Orton against The Big Show. Randy Orton wins the match, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Bullock, your thoughts on this? This was the sleeper fight of the night for me. I expected this to not be anything good, but they surprised me pleasantly.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be something bad, but it really wasn't that at all. And I'll give this about maybe about 3 stars for the effort here. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Randy Orton got one in on the Big Show, and yeah, let's just say after the match, well, it was 4th down and he punted.
Yep, I get it. So so your overall thoughts on what ended up being a very good and newsworthy show tonight?
Yeah, it was a very good and newsworthy show. I mean, a lot of things came out of this edition of Monday Night Raw, the night after the horror show at Extreme Rules, and yeah, you got 2 big matches coming up next week. So yeah, so overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. So Florio, now you can wrap it up.
All right, we got a big week of content here, folks. So stick around. Here you go. Tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern, a special Tuesday night edition of Strictly Sports. Myself, Bullock, and MF, we will be with you, and we are going to preview the 2020 Major League Baseball season. So the 60-game sprint, as MF calls it. We'll give you who we think will win the divisions and the whole 9 yards. And then Wednesday night at 10:30, we'll have Wednesday Night Mayhem, NXT and AEW, as always. NXT announcing tonight that William Regal, the general manager, is going to make a major announcement. I don't know what that major announcement is, but there's a hook for NXT Wednesday night, along with what AEW has in store. So another big Wednesday night indeed. And then Friday night, Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. We'll review Friday Night SmackDown, including the bar fight with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, and so much more. So, and then next Monday night, we'll do it all again on Ridiculously Raw. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our special Major League Baseball preview edition of Strictly Sports, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and thinking about Dee Woodson as she continues her leave of absence. We hope to have her back very soon. And of course, always and forever, Derek Forever, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for our 2020 Major League Baseball preview edition of Strictly Sports, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Flayo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.